Now we will look into the questions on phrase replacement test. The first question: don't meddle with the gadget as it had just been repaired. This is the sentence given to us, in which the words had just been repaired. These 4 words are underlined. As instructed before, our duty is to see whether these 4 underlined words have any grammatical error. If there is no error, then straight away we are going to choose option E, no correction required. If you find that there is an error in these underlined words, then we have to choose option A, B, C or D to make the sentences grammatically correct. Now, don't meddle with the gadget. That means the meddling of the gadget is going on just now. And the speaker says only recently this gadget has been repaired. That is implied. The time of action implied is very recent time. And in English grammar, the tense to be used to describe an action which is completed recently or just completed, that tense should be present perfect tense. Now, if the tense used here is not present perfect tense, it is grammatically wrong. In that way, the underlined words contain past perfect tense. Of course, it is in passive voice because the gadget cannot repair itself. It had been repaired is in past perfect tense. Therefore, the underlined words, they are wrong. So option E is not an option. Now look at the first option, had just repaired. This is of course the past perfect tense, but it is in active voice. A gadget cannot repair itself. You cannot use active voice in this sentence. So option A is wrong. Option B is just repairing, present continuous tense. The tense itself is wrong. The voice is also wrong here. Is just repairing is active voice. Now option C, have been repaired. It is passive voice. It is also in present perfect tense, and still it is wrong because of the use of have here. Now the verb we are going to use in the underlined words should have concord or agreement with the subject. The subject of this verb in this sentence is it. It is third person singular. When you use third person singular, you cannot use have. It has to be has. Therefore, option C is wrong. And option D, has just been repaired. That option has present perfect tense used. It is also in the passive voice, and because of the use of present perfect tense in active voice, this particular option has perfect concord with the subject it. Therefore, for this question, the correct option is option D, has just been repaired. Now, question 2. The list of demands submitted by the workers were totally ignored by the management. Now, the words were totally ignored or underlined. Now, the list of demands, what was ignored? That is the question to find out the subject. Now, if you are going to identify the subject, you may have a confusion whether list is the subject or demands is the subject. Both are nouns, of course. Demands is third person plural. Now list is third person singular. Now the proper subject of the verb in this sentence is not demands but list, which is third person singular. Therefore, were totally wrong is the underlined words do not have any concord with the singular subject. So was totally wrong is was totally ignore that doesn't have the past participle. It is ignore. So option A is wrong, though it is in past tense passive voice. Was totally ignored. Option B, which is the correct option, was totally ignored. We use was here in order to have concord of the verb with the singular subject list. May ignore is irrelevant and is totally ignoring is meaningless. Therefore, the correct option for this question 2 is option B, was totally ignored. Now, question 3. The plumber reported that he has fixed the leaking tap. Now, there are two verbs in this sentence. Has fixed is underlined. Now, we have learnt while talking about tenses that mixing up of tenses is an error in English. The first verb reported is in past tense, and the second verb has fixed in present perfect tense. Normally, when the first verb is in past tense, in the same sentence, the next verb cannot be in present tense or present perfect tense, subject to some exceptions. We also learnt that it is possible to have present tense in the second verb only when the second part of the sentence talks about a universal truth. There is no universal truth mentioned here. So has fixed is grammatically wrong. And also the first verb is reported. Reported is an action that took place in the past. Normally you report something after doing something. A project is reported after the project is completed. Project report is presented after the project is completed. So the plumber reported before fixing the leaking tap or after fixing the leaking tap. Common understanding is that first he fixed the leaking tap, then reported. That means fixing of the leaking tap took place before reported. But reported is already in the past tense. Therefore, fixing of the tap took place in the past before reported. That means the action of fixing the tap took place before the past tense. And the tense which took place before the past tense, is past perfect tense. Therefore, the correct option should be the plumber reported that he had fixed the leaking tap, which is option D. The correct option for question 3 therefore is the plumber reported that he had fixed the leaking tap. Now question 4. If you would have seen the movie, you would have enjoyed it. Usually if you see 2 times would have or will have or will in a complex sentence like this. This sentence is a complex sentence as you observe because it has a main clause and a subordinate clause. You would have enjoyed it. That part of the sentence gives a complete meaning, so it is the main clause, and the subordinate clause incomplete in meaning if you would have seen the movie. Therefore, the underlined words, they have an error because would has been used here, would have enjoyed. Therefore, the underlined words should be replaced by a word which is in the past. Here, option A says, had you been see. Again, had you been see, the last word see is in present form. Therefore, the correct option is option B, which says, had you seen the movie, you would have enjoyed it. It means if you had seen the movie, you would have enjoyed it. So the correct option, correct phrase to replace the underlined phrase is option B for question 4. Option B, had you seen the movie, you would have enjoyed it. That takes us to question 5. Will you explain why did you not obey my order? This is a question which contains another question. In fact, this sentence is an interrogative sentence. where will you explain is the main question. A main question is normally called a direct question. The hidden question in the main question is, why did you not obey my order? So the underlined part contains the hidden question, which is called indirect question. We learnt under the spot the error rule that if a sentence, if an interrogative sentence contains a direct question and an indirect question, for direct question you must use inversion. If you recall the meaning of inversion, normally in an assertive sentence, subject comes first, then comes the verb. If you take an assertive sentence, for example, Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of India. Now here Narendra Modi is the subject. Is the verb. Now in this sentence, subject comes first, verb comes next. In all assertive sentence, this is the order, subject, verb. But in interrogative sentences, the verb comes first, then comes the subject. How old are you? Are is the verb, you is the subject. Now similarly, in this case, will you explain? In that, will is the verb, you is the subject. Inversion is used in the direct question, which is not wrong. And in the indirect question, why did you not obey my order? Even there, inversion is used. Therefore, the underlined words, they have an error of inversion. The correction, therefore, should be in removing this inversion. Now the first option, why did not you obey? Then the second option, that why did you not? We don't use why when you ask a question. Now, why you did not obey? Look at option 3. It is presenting the underlined part by removing the inversion. Why you did not obey? You is the subject, did not obey is the verb. So first subject, then verb. That means the inversion has been removed from the indirect question. For this question, therefore, the correct option is option C. Why you did not obey? Will you explain why did you not obey my order? The correct option, therefore, is why you did not obey.